Hey, as promised, I want to give you guys another update and also answer some messages that I've been getting on Instagram. It's Saturday the 29th, about 3:42. Just finished trying to get a little workout in. It's actually been pretty rough this week, dealing with just pain and neuropathy and everything. But actually, I was able to get in the gym today, so that's a good thing. So to answer a couple of questions, everybody's asking me about what is DVT. So DVT stands for deep vein thrombosis. Basically, it's a blood clot and a major artery. So I had been dealing with pain in my right calf for almost 2 years. So if anyone's seen me at any event in the last 2 years, they've probably seen me walking a little bit slower than usual or even limping, and I was just due because just the pain was just crazy. I didn't know what was going on. I had been to a number of different specialists, been to the emergency room twice, trying to figure out what was going on, and unfortunately the intelligent quack doctors was telling me that, I pulled a ligament in my calf to, just training too hard, stress the muscle or whatnot. So over the 2 years and actually last year, it had progressively got a lot worse, where it was extremely painful. Actually, some of you guys might recall back in November and December of 2018, you see me wearing a boot on my leg and crutches, and that was because one of the times I went to the emergency room and freaking idiots told me that I pulled a muscle in my calf, so they put a boot on it, and pain got tremendously worse. Finally, I was really upset with my doctor, and I said, hey, listen, man, this don't make any damn sense to be in this much pain. I've been an athlete all my life. This ain't no damn torn ligament. This ain't no stretched muscle in my calf or any of this garbage. And he said, okay, well, let's have you go in and do a ultrasound, because I'd done MRIs and x-rays and all that garbage, and nothing came up. So went in, done an ultrasound, and they found out that it was a blood clot in my calf. And actually, when the technician found out, she found out like within 5 minutes, and she just stared at me, and I remember her saying, how long have you been dealing with this? And what have you done? And I said, I've been to all kind of doctors and specialists, and even went to the emergency room twice. And she said, that doesn't make any sense. They should have found this out, immediately. From your symptoms, they should have known what it was to begin with. But she continued, and she got down to my upper calf, and she asked me, did I have a stent in my calf that I know of? And I said, no, I have a stent in my groin area. My left leg supplies my right leg with blood due to a problem they had during my kidney transplant. She goes, are you sure you don't have a stent in your calf? I go, no, I don't. Why do you keep asking me this? And as normally technicians not allowed to discuss anything, she just shut down and said, I'm just going to do my job, and I'll turn this in to the doctor. And she was looking at me, and her eyes got red, like she was getting really upset. She was about to cry. And I stared at her. I said, I go, please, tell me, what do you see? Obviously you're distraught about this. And she said, either you have a massive stent in your calf that you don't know about, or looking at the biggest blood clot I ever seen in my life. And immediately, that got my attention. And, you know, I got emotional too. She got more emotional. And she said, you know what, I'm going to stop right here. I need to call this in stat. You know, you can't go anywhere. And apologize for my camera moving. Obviously I'm driving, and stability isn't that great in my system here. So anyway, so they kept me there for a couple hours, called my doctor, and they said, okay, your doctor's going to call you. We're going to go ahead and release you. And I just drove home and just being really concerned, because actually I was supposed to be flying to the Arnold Classic, Australia, just in a couple of days. And I got home, long story short, my doctor said, where are you? I said, I just pulled up into my garage. I go, why? And he goes, Flex, seriously, I'm surprised you even made it home. I go, what do you mean by that? And he goes, well, you have a major blood clot, and it's life-threatening. And I'm like, you know, come on, man, you know, like, what are you talking about? You know, how could this even be? You know, basically, you know, as healthy as I can be. I've never had any blood issues. Well, I take that back. For like 20 years, my hemoglobin used to always be extremely high. And even when I was getting dialyzed before my kidney transplant, they would tell me that. So anyway, he said, you know, I'm going to put you on a blood thinner. We're going to try to get this, you know, blood clot to break up. And I said, well, doc, you know, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be taking a flight to, you know, Australia in 3 days. And he's like, you know, Flex, if I was you, I wouldn't get on that flight. And I go, bro, this is what I do. I work, you know, I travel. This is what I do. You know, I have to take this flight, you know. It's already paid for, you know, hotel and all of that. It's already been advertised. And he just said, you know, Flex, if you were my brother, you know, father, or family relative, I wouldn't let you get on this flight. And I go, well, you know, man, I go, you know, I'm flying first class. You know, it's the seat completely, you know, lays back into a bed. I'll be okay. You know, I'll be able to relax. I won't be sitting up. And he just got serious with me. He goes, listen, you don't understand. You get on that flight, it's a chance that you might not get off the same way you walked on. I go, what do you mean by that? And he goes, all right, let me spell it out for you. You get on that flight, you're not going to make it alive getting off that flight. So that caught my attention. And I was like, are you sure? How could you be so sure about this? You know, I was just really confused how this could even be. So anyway, long story short, that was on a Friday. Saturday went by, Sunday went by. Monday, I was just in excruciating pain. And I was trying to pack my bags for my trip to Australia for the Arnold Classic. And I couldn't even walk. Yeah, I was like, geez, I can't even, you know, walk around my house, my bedroom to pack my clothes. I'm like, you know, damn, how am I even going to freaking get on a plane? You know, how am I going to do this? And I can't even walk. And so I went to bed, woke up in excruciating pain, and I just laid in bed all day. And like around 10 o'clock at night, I just texted my doctor and I said, listen, you know, my leg is numb. My arm is numb, my groin is numb, and my chest is numb. He said, get to the hospital immediately. I was like, why? And he goes, I don't have time to explain to it. Get to the hospital, you know, to the emergency room. And I was like, man, I've been to the emergency room twice already. Those quacks don't know what the hell's going on. And he said, just go there and tell them that you have a DVT. I was like, what the hell is a DVT? He goes, Flex, you don't have time. You need to get there now. So me being myself, you know, I'm like, damn it, I got to go to the emergency room. I know I'm going to be there for a long time. I'm hungry. So I stopped by Burger King, you know, before I went to the emergency room. And went to the emergency room, and they ran my blood pressure. And my blood pressure was 220 over 209. No, I'm sorry, 210 over 209. So that got everybody's attention. So basically the whole ER stopped and came into my room, and they were asking me questions and this, that, and the other, how long it's been going on, blah, blah, blah. And I have the security system on my phone, and I noticed somebody ringing my doorbell while I was sitting in an emergency bed, and I looked, and it was a good friend of mine, Paul Tabone, and I'm looking at him on my phone through my security system. I'm like, what are you doing at my house with a pizza? You know, it's after 10 o'clock at night. He goes, oh, I figured you were hungry. I went to bring you a pizza. I'm like, well, damn, that pizza looked good, bro, but I'm not here right now. You know, I'm actually in a hospital. I'm in an emergency room because you want me to come down there. What's going on? I go, no, it's okay. I'll be out in a while. Don't worry about it. I go, just give just leave the pizza there and give it to my mother, and I'll talk to you later. So actually, Paul ended up showing up at the hospital, and I remember it was a huge commotion because obviously, Paul is big guy, completely tatted all up, and I guess they thought it was somebody there to beat my butt, and they go, hey, this guy is here to see you, this big white guy, and he's tatted all up, and he says he wants to see you. And I start laughing. I'm like, yeah, that's Paul, let him in. So Paul comes in, and things changed really drastically. I was emotional. I was in tears because I was crying. I was scared, because things were, turning numb on me. And I said, you guys need to get me out of pain now. I can't take this anymore. And they said, no problem, we're going to get you out of pain. So they IV'd me up and started getting me different types of stronger and stronger pain medication because my tolerance is super high from all the surgeries. Anyway, long story short, they're like, we got to keep you. We're going to have to keep you overnight. We don't know what's going on. We got to run a number of different tests. So Paul said, I said, Paul, go ahead and go, bro. They're going to keep me here. He goes, Flex, things don't look too good. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, well, overheard this nurse saying, something about your blood pressure was so high that, I'm not going to, he's not going to make it through the night. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, just I was getting really sleepy, and as for everything went blank. I don't remember nothing else. Everything else after, I only know because of what people told me that were in the room. I was having conversations with the doctors. I don't remember that. Some of my family members called and requested they come, and I said, yeah, I don't remember that. I guess they wanted to try to do these clot busters or whatever. I don't know what type of procedure it is, but they were saying I was moving too much, so they were going to have to put me out, and they wanted me to sign a release for them to put me in a induced coma. I remember that conversation. Evidently I signed a release, and I was supposed to be in a coma, induced coma, just for a couple of hours. Those couple of hours turned into 10 days. And I won't get into it now, but yeah, it got pretty bad. For what my family members and friends tell me, that my kidney shut down because they had to do this test where they shoot this dye into my system, which is very toxic for my kidney. So my kidney shut down. My right leg was dying. I guess it was turning black. And the doctors were arguing with my family members that they needed to amputate my leg to save my life because it was so toxic that they were worried that I was going to go into complete kidney failure. And my family fought really hard to keep them from amputating my leg. Ended up finding another doctor at another hospital who had this. He specialized in this procedure where he took cadaver arteries, and he would put them in, to try to save the leg. So there lies a video that I posted on Instagram. That was a video that was shot of them. Actually, the doctor saying that it was successful and he was able to save my leg. So to answer some of the questions, that's what DVT is. How did it happen? We really don't know. Training really hard causes contraction of the blood vessels that can cause a blood clot. I remember that year I flew over 500,000 miles. So flying that much can cause a blood clot. Having high testosterone level can cause a blood clot. There's so many different things that can cause a blood clot that they actually really don't know. They can't really say for sure which is what. Also, I have a stent, like I said earlier, from my left leg that goes through my groin area to my right leg due to a problem they had during my kidney transplant. Also, supposedly, that stent, that plastic stent, was never meant to last 15 years. So they're also speculating that when that stent started to fail, because it's plastic, when it started to fail, that it started spitting out tiny blood clots. So basically, it was just a perfect storm for a cluster F of things to happen. So right now, I'm actually working on a formula where, we're trying to produce a supplement that can riddle this problem and keep blood clots from happening. Actually, I won't say his name, but you guys know who it is. A very well-known professional bodybuilder who's, I title him as the greatest Mr. Olympia of all times, was in a hospital having another hip replacement. And after he got out of the hospital, he called me and said he got a blood clot while he was in a hospital. So it can just happen for these wildest reasons. And so that's a lot that you guys didn't know. I was actually, I went into the hospital in March. I didn't get out until June. I was in there for a little over 4 months. I was in a coma for 10 days. And yeah, I had to learn how to talk again. My motor skills were compromised. I mean, I remember not understanding why it took me so much energy just to move. And I can touch my nose now, and we have videos where I'm struggling to try to touch my nose and all that. From all the medication and the painkillers they had me on. I used to get these body tremors that was so violent that my whole body would shake, and I would actually start throwing up and stuff like that. So fast forward, you guys see me at the Olympia. I was so happy to be able to make it there. I was in crazy pain, but I just, what do you do? Even at the expo, just the pain was it was violent. I don't even know why I endured going through all that for so long. But what happened is I took a trip, a business trip to Billings, Montana, where I was meeting with a company to work on my nutrition line, which is called Iconic Supplements. So I remember just not even being able to walk properly throughout the entire tour. I was in immense pain, and I just knew something was just vastly wrong. Something was freaking wrong. And I called my wife, and I said, Sheena, when I get back, I'm going straight to the ER. Something's not right. And she's like, okay, well, I'll meet you there. And I remember sitting there just in tears at the airport in Billings, Montana, just, sitting there crying because the pain was so bad. I was terrified whether I should even get on this freaking flight, and I boarded the plane, and I remember even thinking, I should probably get off this freaking plane. I don't even know if I'm going to make it or not. But I stayed on. I was able to make it. I remember walking through Las Vegas airport just sobbing because the pain was so freaking crazy, and I was like, this is not right. Something's not right. So anyway, I contacted my wife, and I said I made it, to the airport. And she goes, you know what? Come home, and I'll drive you there. I don't want to risk you driving by yourself. So I came home, and I asked her to give me a change of clothes so I could be comfortable when I went to the hospital. Went to the hospital, which ironically I'd been back to the hospital probably 20 times from July until October. Going to the emergency room just in extreme pain. So went back. Obviously they knew who I was and everything because I've been there so long, and they ran tests and they came back, and I remember, you know, sitting in a room waiting for hours, and, you know, telling my wife that, you know, I think this is it. You know, I think I'm just gonna let them take my leg. And she's like, you know, you don't know that yet. You don't know how bad it is. But to be really honest with you guys, even when a doctor in that video said, I think we salvaged your leg, I never believed that. And during the course of walking, all those different times and all that, I just knew something was wrong. I just knew it's no way in hell that I'm supposed to be in this type of pain and this surgery worked. I just knew it. I even told a few of my closest friends, you know, I'm not gonna have my leg for long. I know this isn't working. It was just like a weird premonition, and I started actually accepting that I was gonna lose my leg, you know, one day. I didn't know how soon, but I knew something was wrong. So doctor walks in and she's just staring at me, and it seemed like for 1 minute she just stood there and stared at me, and she goes, you know, Flex, we're at that point now, you know, the time has come. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, on the right side of your calf it's 90% blocked, on the left side of your calf it's 100% blocked. You know, nobody can make this decision but you. And I just said, take it. She goes, you sure? I'm like, yeah, take it. You know, just take it. She goes, okay, I think this is the best thing to do. I go, on top of that, I go, if the blood clot is back and it's blocked so significantly, I go, isn't there a chance that it can break, you know, free and it can kill me? You know, blood clot could travel to my heart, my brain. She goes, that's very true. And I was like, just take it. So, yeah, that's that. You guys seen all the other videos. I'll be posting more videos. I have a ton of videos while I was in the hospital. I'll be posting those soon. And, you know, basically the reason why I do this, the reason why I talk about this and post videos and everything is because I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one who's been through something like this or worse. So I'm just trying to share, you know, what I'm going through to help, you know, everybody else who have to go through this or may be going through this or may have to go through this in the future. So, you know, just deal with it. Trying to figure out a way to win. So, super excited. My first major appearance is going to the Honor Classic. Like I said, today is Saturday, so next Thursday I'll be traveling to the Honor Classic. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be handing out the Pro Wheelchair Award, which is going to be very exciting. I'm sure it's going to be a very emotional time for me, being in public at that magnitude. But I'm looking forward to all the challenges that I have. And like I said, you know, there's no back door to this situation. You know, it's in through the front door and is out through the front door. So I have to win this. Even though, you know, like I said, sometimes it's just unbearable, and I just lay in bed. I just constantly pray and say, okay, maybe tomorrow will be better. And if it's not, you know, maybe the day after that it'll be better. Maybe the day after that, and, you know, here I am. Had a better day. Still in crazy pain, but I was like, you know what? I'm hurting anyway. I might as well go to the freaking gym. You know, I'm trying to get my cardio and my endurance up to be able to handle being at the Honor Classic for those 4 days. So anyway, I won't be doing another update until I get to the Honor Classic, but I'll be doing updates from there. I appreciate all you guys' comments. Thank you so much for everybody who sends me out their insight, their comments. I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate everyone's support that you've given me throughout this ordeal. And thank you very much. Please remember to click subscribe, and until next time, peace.